Episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier dropped today, and just wow, another amazing episode, and as always, going to be talking fully in spoilers about it, so if you have not seen the episode, click off, go watch it. It is really amazing. Going into the episode, I was like, okay, some big stuff is gonna happen, and it opens with my favorite scene in the entire show so far. We have that showdown between John Walker, Sam, and Bucky, and it was everything it needed to be. It was kind of similar to the Civil War, when Iron Man gets beat down by the real Cap, Steve, and Bucky. But what's cool about it is that John Walker's actually able to fight back, and because of the super soldier serum too. And there's this amazing suspense there too, because you see the reaction, especially of Bucky here, and every single time he looks at the shield, like you can tell that it's really important to him, and that kind of relates to later on in the episode, which I will mention. Okay, it's me editing, and I forgot to mention this, obviously this always happens, but later on in the episode, Bucky says the shield is basically the only family he has left. I'm holding my phone up, that's why it's a little shaky. But he says to Sam, just because everything is basically gone from him, because of course, he was gone for a while as the Winter Soldier, and now he's here. Steve is no longer here, obviously, near the end of Endgame. We all know what happens, so I think that's why even earlier on there, it was so important to him. And they use shaky cam, but it's not annoying. Like, you're not like, oh, I can't tell what's going on. You know perfectly what's going on. It's great. You have this amazing dynamic between these two, and there is some pretty crazy stuff. Like, Sam basically is put in the position of the guy that John Walker killed, and then Bucky comes in and saves him. And then they do take the shield, and then John Walker kind of goes to court almost, like in a way where they basically just say, we're removing you from being Captain America, because obviously he like killed that guy quite brutally. And then Sam goes to visit Isaiah, and there's this amazing scene where he goes and he starts talking to him, and I think this is only the second time we've seen Isaiah in this show, and it's so powerful because they use a social commentary, and it's really well done. It's not forced at all. It's really important here, and they talk about what they did to Isaiah as the only black super soldier, and then Isaiah says, like, there's a reason why they wouldn't let Sam be Captain America, because he's black, and they say all this, and it's like, it's really sad to listen to, and you really feel for these characters, and you really feel for Isaiah because he feels that Steve's the one who put him in prison, which obviously we all know that's not true, and Sam tries to convince him that. And then Sam goes back and starts working on the boat with his sister and all that, and in my opinion, a lot of people are saying this is the best episode. I don't think it is the best one. It is one of them for sure, because in the whole boat fixing type part, like when he goes back home, the episode slows down just a little bit. Like there's just a few, maybe like 5 minutes that drag, but trust me, this episode was amazing. That's like barely a complaint here. And then Bucky shows up there after a little bit, and there's some great conversations between Sam and what's his sister, Sarah, yep, that's her name. And there's even some sweet stuff with his nephew too. And then Bucky shows up there, and he has like this case, and you're like, what's in it? But you kind of have an idea, because there's actually a scene that I should mention where we see Zemo again. He kind of escaped in that last episode, and then Bucky finds him, and then it's actually this really intense scene because Bucky pulls like a gun on him, and you think, is he really gonna kill him? He puts it up, and then he like reloads it basically, and then he pulls, and then nothing comes out. Like all the bullets just drop on the ground. And then the Dora Milaje, I think I said that right. I forgot the name like last time or the video before, but I finally remember it now. They take Zemo away, and they also call Bucky White Wolf, which I really thought was cool. I was like, yes, it's the second time. I love that. I mean, Bucky's one of the greatest characters in the MCU, I think so. I love seeing him here, and Sam just gets better and better and better, and there's some great stuff with his family. Bucky shows up, as I said, with that case, and we don't see what's in the case. It's some like Pulp Fiction type stuff where we don't see what's in the case, and the episode ends, jumping to it, but I'll go back, don't worry. The episode ends with Sam opening the case, and we don't see what's in it, but we obviously know it's going to be his suit, because in that opening scene, his wings actually break. Like John Walker is able to break his wings, and then he leaves it with one of the people that they're working with, some other guy, I forget the guy's name, it starts with the T, I can't remember exactly. And then there's some great smaller moments between Bucky and Sam and all the family, and they start really talking, and they start understanding each other. As I said, it slows down just a little bit and maybe drags on in a few parts, but I didn't really find that a problem. Like, I really enjoyed this episode, and I have to keep restating that because whenever you put a little complaint on something, people are going to think you hate it. But no, I really love this episode. And then it gets to another one of my favorite scenes. My favorite scene still is that whole fight at the start of the episode, but this is one of them. It's one that I've been waiting to see the entire time because we kept seeing it in the trailer, and we see Bucky and Sam throw around the shield through trees, and they're throwing it's like bounce, bounce, bounce. One catches it, one throws it to the other, and then Sam starts giving Bucky some like truth. He I think, what did he say? Some tough love or something like that, and then he's honest about it, and it's a really important scene. It's really nice to see. And then Sam has this whole Rocky training montage, which was really awesome. I mean, Anthony Mackie is ripped, and I forgot about that, but it kind of reminded me of him running in The Winter Soldier. But overall, this episode was really amazing. It wasn't my favorite. I know it's a lot of people's favorites. It wasn't my favorite, but it was a really great episode. It had some of my favorite moments in the entire show, if not my favorite moments, and the character moments really worked. It sure did drag in a few parts, but I cannot wait for that final episode. It is going to be perfect. I'm going to give episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier a 4.5 out of 5. Yep, it really was great. And yeah, like, you don't see the Flag Smashers as much here, but they do come into play because they set up that final episode. They do something weird in like New York because the person who Sam gave like the wings to, or like left it with him, has been tracking where the Flag Smashers were and like right before it would happen, and then he finds one in New York, and then we see Carly and someone else, and they're kind of making deals with criminals, and they're like, why are we doing this with their criminals? And then Carly's like, haven't you heard, we're criminals too. So that's quite interesting. And then she sets off something to like everyone's phone, and then they start walking towards her. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I feel like the final episode is gonna have just everyone fighting, and then John Walker in a post-credit scene. You guys might have missed it because this was the first one in the show, but he's kind of building his own homemade Captain America shield because he keeps saying like, I am Captain America and stuff, because he's really going crazy. This episode was great. I'm going to stop talking now before I tire myself out. But what did you think of this episode? Tell me in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.